me down to my very last. I wanna travel back to the first thing that I had. Nothing compares to it. Don't say no prayer, just do it. Take me down, break me down and watch me fly. I'm here to save a life. Round and around in the world it goes. Where it all stops, take its time, we know. No one sees nothing with their eyes wide closed. No one never gets nothing from a seed unsown. I get back to the origin when I lose my way. Don't bother with them dollar bills, 'cause they never stay. I need bread for my body and I need meat for my soul. Somehow when I reach out to love another, I'm restored. You should take your time with this. Let it soak in through your skin. Once it settles on your lips, lean into it like a kiss.
Good evening, fellow humans. Before we get into this evening's tale of disruption, I'd like to answer a question. Will this be disturbing? Yes, as each tale of injustice always is. So buckle up, and let's go.
Pero ninge kelo kapuchala ira ko da sai ne ninge ana ko go kizine kini alo sha cho komishiri dorena da me anga ge de tari nga berra ke kala tungani kundi be kalo lo she rezo na re ko no mutat ai do nya gazingon e irje ji ngo da ke urungun e nya gazingon hila no raza na ke jodu manga ninge me no me ga ko da nga lo sha nga ko toy na ko ana zonga la yinta ko ana sai ne ke bumbumbe sisi rere sai ne ke bumbumbe raman rere na bara ke la nga zoa ge ma kal kal ko ani ko bo to gina ba ko gujuran bara malo sha a gerri mate na me ani ba me a gerri be ba tininge.
Our United War Cabinet united and resolved to maximize this will be a different kind of war to maximize civilian casualties. No regard whatsoever to Palestinian lives.
A Shadow Man
Our
production.
United War Cabinet every day perpetrate war crime, targeting our civilians and their civilians. We've seen the cost in the civilian population, human shields.
And if you follow what happened, Israel started by the most terrorizing airstrikes against civilians. That's a classic way of pushing them out. They destroyed their homes, then hospitals, schools, bakeries, playgrounds, UN shelters. All this is to turn Gaza into unlivable. So what has taken place over the last month and a half was a classic case of ethnic cleansing. Now people are still gathered in huge numbers in the south. People are still disconnected in the north. Israel is preventing people now with the truce to return back to their homes in the north and preventing humanitarian assistance from reaching the north. Why do you think they're doing that?
محمد يا حبيبي يا غندور
Who has the right to defend themselves? Is it the occupier or the occupied?
back to sleeping back inside your cage. Only beasts can sentence life into a cage. Silly humans all connected by our rage. What is the measure? Think it's time to check the gauge. This anti-woke regime has got me in a daze. More questions popping up that Ronnie can't erase. Like why the hell y'all wanna sleep in the first place? Wake up and get out, we can't stay in the sunken place. I did not sign up for this shit, no. Where do I sign up for the misfits? Yo, do you hear me howling? Waiting on a return soon. No, I'm not welcome here, and no, I never really was. No, I'm not welcome here, and no, I never really was. No, I'm not welcome here, and no, I never really was. No, I'm not welcome here, and no, I never really was.
For so long, the world has adopted terminologies that have led to the killing of our children. It's we who have the right to defend itself, not the occupier.
You speak for the Palestinian government in the West Bank.
Let me correct that. I speak on behalf of the Palestinians wherever they are, in the West Bank, in Gaza, and in the refugee camps and in the exile outside.
I'm the only Palestinian American serving in Congress, Mr. Chair, and my perspective is needed here now more than ever. I will not be silenced, and I will not let you distort my words. Folks forget I'm from the city of Detroit, the most beautiful, blackest city in the country, where I learned to speak truth to power even if my voice shakes.
I represent the state of Palestine, and that state has a government. The government of that state is the PLO, the Palestine Liberation Organization. That government represents every Palestinian inside and outside. That government is legitimate. So
but the Palestinians wouldn't give up. They would continue their fight for independence.
Of unprecedented destitute. Those who were displaced to the south now have nowhere else to go. The weather conditions are horrible. No food, no water, no medicine. You're talking about unimaginable carnage. What Israel did since the beginning of the situation has nothing to do with eradicating Hamas. What Israel was doing was a classic design of a second Nakba, of ethnic cleansing.
By second Nakba, you mean the removal of the Palestinian people from Gaza completely?
No, this is not what I mean. This is what has happened. Israel has displaced 1.7 million Palestinians in Gaza, but there are still hundreds of thousands of people in the north, including my own family, that's still there. They didn't leave. They have nowhere to go now.
Can you explain? I mean, because Israel kept saying we are warning people to get to safety, to leave the north because that's where we are going to attack. If your own family stayed there, as an example, why didn't they leave to save their own lives?
Because they see that people who left were bombarded everywhere. They see that the south is not spared. They see that Israel has already called on major cities like Khan Yunis in the south to evacuate. They see that if they leave their home, they're killed anyway. So they decided, you know what, if Israel is going to kill us, let it kill us in our own home. From day one, the plan is very clear. The plan is to eradicate the Palestinian people. And by the way, Krishna, not only in Gaza, follow what has happened in the West Bank in the last few weeks. See how many Palestinians were killed by the Israeli army and illegal settler terrorist groups.
Trying to bully or censor me won't work, because this movement for a ceasefire is much bigger than one person. It's growing every single day. There are millions of people across our country who oppose Netanyahu's extremism and are done watching our government support collective punishment and the use of white phosphorus bombs that melt flesh to the bone. They are done watching our government, Mr. Chair, supporting cutting off food, water, electricity, and medical care to millions of people with nowhere to go. Like me, Mr. Chair, they don't believe the answer to war crimes is more war crimes.
$230 were killed. 1,000 Palestinians in the West Bank were depopulated. Maybe in the West Bank, the ethnic cleansing is happening at a slower scale, but it is happening and it's the same. That's the blueprint and on the desk of the Israeli government.
This would be a different kind of war to maximize significant casualties. No regard whatsoever to Palestinian lives.
But the Palestinians wouldn't give up. They would continue their fight for independence.
Try to find the hostages. Does it look like Israel's trying to find the hostages? If I have a family member that's a hostage, I'm disgusted by what Netanyahu's doing now. How do you know they're not in the buildings you're dropping bombs on? How do you know they're not in the tunnels you're dropping bombs on? How do you know they're not in the hospitals you're dropping bombs on? So if you want the hostages rescued, every rational human being can agree this is not the way to do it. This is the way to do death and destruction for the sake of death and destruction. It's collective punishment. It's genocide against Palestinians. And the world has to speak. But go find Hamas. Go find the hostages. Go rescue them instead of wantonly, indiscriminately, killing after killing. And let's be honest, when you drop a bomb and a kid's head explodes and a grandmother is incinerated, that is terrorism.
بيسألني انه يعني احيانا تخطر بباله افكار انه بابا ليش الحرب هاي كلها ما بدها تنتهي؟ انه بابا ليش انت مثلا تقتل العسكري ما عنده اب وام عم يستنوه وعم ينتظروا مثلنا يعني بابا بقول له ايه مزبوط.
فت عنا على البيت طبعا لقيت الباب مفتوح مخلوع خلع وكان في برا حفرة ذاتين كانوا قنبلة. فت يعني تلاقيت ابوي ممدد واخوتي من وراه هيك لانه اول ما فاتوا طخوا عنا بالبيت كان ابوي هو فتح لنا الباب وقال لنا فيش عنا حدا فيش عنا مقاتلين. قالوا طيب روح. كانوا صافين اخوتي على الحيط وامي قالوا له انت روح صف معهم وهو بعده عم بيفتل بلش اطلاق النار. طبعا طلقات اجوا بظهره وقلب وبلش اطلاق النار على جميع اخوتي. انا كنت يعني بس اثناء المجزرة ب 82 كنت شاب وعم بكمل دراستي يعني ما كنت افكر اني اكره الناس او احقد على حدا. بس هاي المجزرة طبعا خلتني أعيد التفكير بكتير أمور. يعني خلتني أفكر مين بحبني، مين بكرهني، مين يعني ليش صارت هالشغلة. حتى صرت أفكر بأبعد من هيك. فهاي خلت يعني عندي حب الكراهية وحب الانتقام والثأر وهيك. أنا ما كنت أصلا إنسان ما مخلوق على هالشغلات. هي بتصير مع الوقت أو مع الأشياء اللي بتصير معه هو بتصير، إن كان حب أو كراهية.
The refusal of Congress and the administration to acknowledge Palestinian lives is chipping away at my soul. Over 10,000 Palestinians have been killed. Majority were children. But let me be clear. My criticism has always been of the Israeli government and Netanyahu's actions. It is important to separate people and governments, Mr. Chair. No government is beyond criticism. The idea that criticizing the government of Israel is anti-Semitic sets a very dangerous precedent, and it's being used to silence diverse voices speaking up for human rights across our nation.
עד שערב אחד באמצע תקופת המילואים הובלתי כוח של היחידה שלי לתפוס מחבל מתאבד בכפר בפאתי שכם, ואחרי שהובלתי את הכוח היינו צריכים להוציא אותו וירינו על הקירות כדי שהוא ידע שאנחנו החזקים. ויצאה מן הבית אישה עם ילדה לידיים וילדה קטנה לידה. היה 3 לפנות בוקר והילדה בבהלה רצה לקראתנו. פחדתי שתתפוצץ עליי ועל החיילים. צעקתי לה לעצור בערבית, היא לא עצרה. יריתי כדור מעל הראש שלה, היא עצרה. ובאותו רגע נעצר גם משהו בי. וזה היה הרגע הקצר הארוך ביותר בחיי. הילדה נשארה בחיים, וגם אני נשארתי בחיים. אבל באותו רגע מת משהו בשנינו. בילד שיורים עליו, משהו מת, אני לא יודע מה, אבל משהו מת. במבוגר שיורה על ילד, משהו מת. וכשמשהו מת, משהו חדש חייב להיוולד. התחושה של הבושה שיריתי בה, התחושה של הכאב, ובעיקר התחושה של פרק האצבע המורה ביד ימין שלחצה על ההדק, ירדה על ילדה. אני חושב שזו נקודה שמשהו חדש התחיל להיוולד.
You realize what it's like, Mr. Chair, for the people outside the chamber right now, listening in agony to their own government dehumanizing them. To hear the President of the United States, we helped elect, dispute death tolls as we see video after video of dead children and parents under rubble. Mr. Chair, do you know what it's like to fear rising hate crimes, to know how Islamophobia and anti-Semitism makes us all less safe, and worry that your own child might suffer the horrors that 6-year-old Wadia did in Illinois? I can't believe I have to say this, but Palestinian people are not disposable.
People are saying this number, 12,000 people were killed. Yes, many of them were killed, and good riddance.
كنت نايم؟ صار قصف؟ صار قصف عليكم وانتم نايمين؟ خايف الحين؟ خايف ليش خايف؟ خلص القصف الحين خلص يا عم خلص أنا معاك ماشي؟ خلص أنت بطل لا أنت مش خايف ليش خايف؟ بدك أبوك؟ الحين بدك أبوك إذا قصف خلاص؟ وجدت تليفون كمان؟
We are human beings, just like anyone else. My city, my grandmother, like all Palestinians, just wants to live her life with freedom and human dignity we all deserve. Speaking up to save lives, Mr. Chair, no matter faith, no matter ethnicity, should not be controversial in this chamber.
But the Palestinians wouldn't give up. They would continue their fight for independence.
Welcome, Minister. I again want to just make sure that viewers understand that the Palestinian Authority has been an opponent of Hamas, so you are not in any way affiliated with Hamas. You represent the Palestinian Authority, which has control over parts of the West Bank.
Well, first of all, I am not part of the Palestinian Authority. As a matter of fact, I represent a democratic Palestinian movement called Palestinian National Initiative, which is non-Fatah and non-Hamas. And we're of course, I am not affiliated with Hamas. But I think this situation that has evolved is a direct result of the continuation of the longest occupation in modern history. Israeli occupation of Palestinian land since 1967. This is 56 years of occupation that has transformed into a system of apartheid, a much worse apartheid than what prevailed in South Africa.
The cries of the Palestinian and Israeli children sound no different to me. Why? What I don't understand is why the cries of Palestinians sound different to you all. We cannot lose our shared humanity, Mr. Chair. I hear the voices of advocates in Israel, in Palestine, across America, and around the world for peace. I am inspired by the courageous survivors in Israel who have lost loved ones, yet are calling for a ceasefire and the end to violence. I am grateful to the people in the streets for the peace movement, with countless Jewish Americans across the country standing up and lovingly saying, "Not in our name." We will continue to call for a ceasefire, Mr. Chair, for the immediate delivery of critical humanitarian aid to Gaza, for the release of all hostages and those arbitrarily detained, and for every American to come home.
חוץ מלשמוע את כל השמות של המתים והנעדרים והשבויים, הדבר הכי גרוע במיידי לא היה לשכב בחושך בממ"ד. זה הרגע שבו יצאתי מהבית כשפינו אותנו והיה חושך, והייתי יחפה ודרכתי על זכוכית, וראיתי את הפנים של אנשים מהשכונה שלי. פחד אלוהים. וראיתי פנים שהכרתי מאז
One of the most impactful things that will occur after being in combat is the feeling of killing another human being. Once you've experienced it, you'll see that it's not like anything else that you've experienced before. And unfortunately, that feeling, your body will want to experience again. It's really difficult to try to explain to somebody what that feeling's like. Right now, I still feel like experiencing that again, and it's probably why I keep a loaded weapon in my house. I yearn or desire for someone to try to hurt me, or to break in, or to give me an excuse to use that violence against somebody else again.
But the Palestinians wouldn't give up. They would
maybe Hamas did not recognize Israel, but the PLO did, and the Palestinian Authority did. What did they get? Nothing.
But the Palestinians wouldn't give up. They would continue their fight for independence.
We'll be reading for you today from the Gaza Ministry of Health a list of names of all those who've been killed since October 7th.
Muaz Etimad Youssef Dalul, female, I'm male, 6 years old. Tala Amjad Aryan Abu Ayada, 5 years old. Elaine Amjad Aryan Abu Ayada, 3 years old. Hamza Muhammad Nahid Al-Fasih, 3 years old.
Since 2014, the Israeli governments would not even meet with Palestinians. And what you see today is a reaction to several things. First of all, settlers' terrorist attacks on Palestinians in the West Bank that has evicted already 20 communities in an act of ethnic cleansing. 248 Palestinians who were killed by the Israeli army and settlers in the West Bank, including 40 children. Attacks on the holy sites, the Muslim and Christian holy sites by Israeli extremists, as well as declaration of Netanyahu that he will liquidate the Palestinian rights and the Palestinian cause by normalization with Arab countries. And he dared even to go to the United Nations and carried in the United Nations a map of Israel, which included the whole of the West Bank, all of Gaza, all of Jerusalem, as well as the Golan Heights.
We will continue to work for a real lasting peace that upholds human rights and dignity of all people and centers in peaceful coexistence between Israelis and Palestinians and censures no one, and ensures that no person, no child has to suffer or live in fear of violence. 71% of Michigan Democrats support a ceasefire. So you can try to censor me, but you can't silence their voices. I urge my colleagues to join with the majority of Americans and support a ceasefire now to save as many lives as possible. President Biden must listen to and represent all of us, not just some of us. I urge the president to have the courage to call for a ceasefire and the end of killings. Thank you, and I yield.
But the Palestinians wouldn't give up. They would continue their fight for independence.
The question here, why the United States supports Ukraine in fighting what they call occupation, while here they are supporting the occupier who continues to occupy us.
My heart is dark, yeah, it's been scarred, but it's full of charge, and my veins are full of fire. My eyes are sharp, they can see through the dark. My heart is a spark, keeping me alive, 'cause it ain't my time to die.
What good is finding a world that is green if the roots are soaked in blood? What good is a world that is green if there's nobody left to live in it? The precedent set on people's lives and the calculations we make as to who is expendable, that is the precedent we set for who is expendable anywhere.
We know TikToks that goes viral about food. Did you see this TikTok about how you remove white phosphorus from your body? Because white phosphorus weapons are being shelled on people, shelled on civilians, shelled on women and children. And this is where most of the casualties are.
I come here from the continent of North America, representing our indigenous peoples of our Muskogee communities, who for many years now we have lived in an occupied state. We were dispossessed of our lands. We were forced upon reservations where we were confined to one area. The water and the resources that we had known for thousands upon thousands of years were taken from us and commodified and exploited and stolen from our peoples. Today we come here and I stand here and have been asked to say these words because I stand in solidarity with each one of my relatives here.
On the 16th of January 2007, an Israeli border police shot and killed my 10-year-old daughter Abir in front of her school in Anata, where I live. She was with her sister and two other friends, 9:30 in the morning. In her head, in the back, from a distance of 15 to 20 meters, by a rubber bullet. Abir wasn't a fighter. She was just a child. She don't know anything about the conflict, and she is not part of this conflict. Unfortunately, she lost her life because she's a Palestinian.
I'm an Israeli who lost his daughter to suicide bombing on the 4th of September 1997. And I'm a product of an education system. These are two societies at war, and they socialize the young generation, to make them being able to sacrifice themselves when time comes. And this is true to Palestinian society, and this is also true to Israeli society.
Because we are human beings, sometimes you think, if I kill the killer, or anyone from the other side, from the Israelis, or maybe 10, this will give me back my daughter. No. I'll cause another pain and another victim to the others. I decide to break this circle of violence and blood and revenge. I stop killing and revenge and support revenge by myself.
My definition of sides have changed dramatically. Today, on my side are all those who want peace and are willing to pay the price of peace, and the other side are those who do not want peace and are not willing to pay the price of peace.
Many people told me that it's not your right to forgive in their name. And the answer, it's also not my right to revenge in their name. I hope she's satisfied. I hope she rests in peace.
הסיפור הוא שנכנס קצין גרמני במדי אס-אס לגטו, ובליל גשום אחד אמא אומרת לו, קח את הילדה שלי. והוא, אמא מספרת שהיא מרימה את גדר התיל ומוסרת את התינוקת שאני ילדה, כאמור יהודייה בת 2.5, והיא בלב כואב מספרת שהיא מעבירה אותי לידיים של איש מופלא במדי אס-אס. היום אנחנו יודעים שאותו אדם, הלוי זה פלווה, שירת בצבא הגרמני, כי זה היה, הוא חי בגבול גרמניה. אבל למעשה הוא לקח אותי למעיל שלו, הכניס אותי לתוך המעיל שלו כתינוקת, ומעביר אותי אל גבול גרמניה, פולין, לבית הוריו. והם מגדלים אותי, הוא מספר שאני ביתו הלא חוקית, והם מגדלים אותי, הופכים אותי לנוצריה קתולית, הם מגדלים אותי עד סוף המלחמה. איזה מחווה, איזה מקסם, איזה יד מושטת, חוויה של ניצוצות של אור בתוך דברים שהם נקראים טירוף של אנושות. אם אני רוצה ומעלה בדעתי לשאול את עצמי, האם אני הייתי יכולה להיות בתוך אחד המקומות האלה, אולי הקשה ביותר, האם הייתי יכולה להיות במקום של אותו קצין גרמני? איך אנחנו יכולים לענות על השאלה הזאת? עכשיו, אני לא מאמינה שהיה לי את כוחות הנפש האלה לעשות את זה. אם אני שואלת את עצמי את השאלה, אולי כן, איך הוא ידע שזה קרה לו? מי יודע שיש בתוכו, ואיך מתחברים אל אותו רגע אמת שאפשר להקריב את עצמך, את חייך היחידים, למען מישהו אחר. אולי שאלה ללא מענה, אולי שאלה שאחרים יוכלו לענות עליה, אבל זה כאילו מתבקש לשאול את זה.
And everything that you're going through, my relatives on these lists here, I'm never going to forget those names that are being said, and one day I will greet them when I join them in the spirit world. But today I want to say something before more violence is incurred, that this has to stop now.
Whole apartments, whole buildings, high-rise buildings are brought down to the ground, and we already are receiving reports about families who are killed. 9 people in one family, 10 people in another family, including children. I do not want any civilian to be hurt, neither by Palestinians or by Israelis. But the question is how to end that. Will it end by attacking Gaza Strip another time? Israel has already conducted 5 wars on Gaza. One of them lasted 51 days. They destroyed everything. This did not stop Hamas, did not stop resistance. There is one way to stop any violence, and that is to end the Israeli occupation. And that is for the United States to be fair. They cannot say that Israel has the right to defend itself, but we, the Palestinians, don't have the right to defend ourselves. Let me remind you the case of Shireen Abu Akleh, who was not only Palestinian, but also an American, a very peaceful journalist. She was shot to death by an Israeli sniper. Was anybody indicted? Was anybody taken to court? No. 52 other journalists were also killed. Our first aid providers are shot at. Our doctors are shot at. This should stop. And the only way to stop it is to tell Israel, you have to respect international law, you have to end this illegal occupation, and accept Palestinians as equal human beings.
Israel's unrelenting assault on the Gaza Strip continues as the death toll has reached 18,000 Palestinians killed in just over 2 months. Airstrikes rocked the Nuseirat and Maghazi refugee camps in central Gaza overnight. At least 23 people died in Maghazi. Airstrikes also struck at least 2 residential homes in Rafah. Meanwhile, the ground battle is pushing ahead in Khan Yunis, which is under heavy bombardment.
St. Louis and I rise today in opposition to this central resolution and then also in opposition to the reckless manner that people in this house speak when they don't realize or don't care that they put targets on the backs of actual people, most of whom are black and brown, because of a lack of care and a lack of understanding and a lack of seeing the humanity of folks who look like Rashida Tlaib. It's outrageous that my colleagues are blatantly attempting to silence the only Palestinian American representative right here. It's outrageous, but it's not surprising. And let me tell you, it's not surprising because this place is where 1,700 members of Congress, this elected body, enslaved black people. It's not surprising because they thought it was right. It's not surprising because this is a place where members continue to claim that the insurrection on the Capitol just appeared to look like a normal tourist visit. It's not surprising because this is the place where our black and brown staff members repeatedly speak of experiencing racism and sexism, Islamophobia, get pushed off in elevators, xenophobia, and more right here in this workplace. This is the place, and let me say this, she mourns for the 1,400 Israelis that lost their lives. She mourns for the 10,000, and she will not stop. No more ceasefire now, and she takes the death threats that you all send that they
the gentlelady is no longer recognized. The gentleman from Maryland.
To her, the desire to save lives is greater.
Gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
That's what I said.
Isn't the practical effect here of all this going to be much worse for the average Palestinian?
So I'ma cry if I feel like crazy. I know I'm alive. There's time that I can't give up the fight.
My stakes were always high, so I taught myself to fly. And if I crash and burn, we'll call that a lesson learned. We'll call that experience earned. Gotta get back in the sky, cause it ain't my time to die. No, it ain't my time to die. Hurts my pride when I fall down, but in my pain I am found. Never in vain when I hit that ground. Only lose face when I'm looking around. I can fly straight if I never look down. Gotta get back in the sky, cause it ain't my time to die. No, it ain't my time to die.
We go the way. My time to die.
Unfortunately, Farid, what you have described is exactly what we already have. Today, the whole West Bank is paralyzed by 560 military Israeli checkpoints. And these checkpoints were there during the last 30 years. We are suffering from a wall that is built on our land. The whole West Bank has been divided in 224 small ghettos, separated from each other. And the settlers are everywhere attacking Palestinians. You speak about right-wing government in Israel. Already Israel is a right-wing government. Israel is already having fascists in its government. Smotrich described himself as a fascist homophobe. And that man, Smotrich, who is also a settler, said that Palestinians have one of three options only: either to immigrate or accept a life of subjugation to Israelis or die. This is the Israeli Minister of Finance. Netanyahu never negated these statements, and both Smotrich and Ben-Gvir said that their plan is to annex the West Bank. Can we stop what's going on now? Yes, of course. All these Israelis who are now in Gaza can be released tomorrow, including everybody. If there are civilians, also the civilians. Even the generals of the Israeli army can be released if Israel also accepts to release our 5,300 Palestinian prisoners who are in Israeli jails, including 1,260 Palestinians who are in jail without knowing why, under the so-called administrative detention. They don't know why they are arrested, they are not charged, their lawyers don't know why they are arrested, and that's the life we have.
מה שקרה לנו היה מזעזע, אבל יש משהו שמאוד חשוב לי להגיד. מה שקרה לנו לא היה חדש, פשוט גרוע יותר. מפקירים אותנו שנים. אל תגידו כיפת ברזל, זה פלסטר. אל תגידו חיילים, זה פלסטר. זה פלסטר, בן אדם גוסס, אתם מביאים לו פלסטר. בושה. ושנים אנחנו מדברים על זה. שנים. מפקירים אותנו. וכאן זה מגיע. זה לא היה חדש, רק גרוע יותר. וזה לא הדבר היחיד שהוא לא חדש, אלא רק גרוע יותר במלחמה הזאת. ואני מנסה למצוא את המילים, כי בכנות קצת קשה למצוא אותן עם כל הכעס והאבל שיש בתוכי כרגע. איך אני אמורה לקום בבוקר, אזרחי ישראל, פוליטיקאים, תושבי ישראל, חול, לא אכפת לי מי שומע, תקשיבו לי טוב. איך אני אמורה לקום בבוקר ולדעת ש4.5 קילומטרים מקיבוץ בארי, בעזה, יש אנשים שזה לא נגמר בשבילם. בשבילי זה נגמר אחרי 12 שעות, כי היה לאן להוציא אותי. אני בים המלח. מי שמדבר על נקמה, תתביישו. יש הרבה כאב, זה נכון. אני, אחרי כל מה שעברתי, כל כך הרבה כוחות אני מאבדת בכל פעם שאני שומעת את המילה נקמה. מה שאני עברתי, שאנשים יעברו את זה ולא יהיה מי שיוציא אותם. אי אפשר ככה, ולא, אי אפשר עוד פלסטרים. שואלים אותנו כל הזמן, אתם חושבים שתחזרו לקיבוץ אחרי זה? אתם חושבים שתחזרו לגור שם? בלי עוד הגנה, בלי עוד חיילים, בלי עוד זה? אל תגידו לי חיילים, אל תגידו לי הגנה, תגידו לי פתרון מדיני. כבר שנים אנחנו מבקשים פתרון מדיני. אני בת 19. יש לי חברים שנפלו בקרב כחיילים בימים האחרונים, שכשהם היו בגן הם ידעו מה הם רוצים להיות בצבא. שאני אגדל ככה את הילדים שלי? בושה וחרפה. שאני אגדל את הילדים שלי ואני אשאל אותם כשהם בני 5, תגיד חמודי מה אתה רוצה להיות בצבא? כמה אפשר לאבד, כמה אפשר לספוג? אנחנו, מי שיצא, אנחנו הוכחה חיה ומהלכת. ותאמינו לי, מי ששומע את זה, שאנחנו... זה עוד יכול להיות יותר גרוע. זה יכול להיות.
But the Palestinians wouldn't give up. They would continue their fight for independence.
Look, Farid, we have lived all our lives under occupation. My father lived under occupation. My daughter is living under occupation. We want a time when we, the Palestinians, will be free. Hamas was not there 30 years ago or 40 years ago. But before that, PLO is described as terrorist. Any Palestinian who struggles for his right or for freedom is described as terrorist. And the question here, do we have the right to struggle for freedom? Do we have the right to struggle for real democracy? Do we have the right to have normal democratic elections, which unfortunately Israel and the United States don't support? I think we are entitled to that. But the unfortunate thing, if we struggle in a military form, we are terrorists. If we struggle in a non-violent way, we are described as violent. If we even resist with words, we are described as provocators. If you support Palestinian and you are a foreigner, they describe you as anti-Semite. And if you are a Jewish person, and there are many of those, who supports Palestinian cause, they call him self-hating Jew. This should end. It doesn't make sense. We should all have equal life. We should all have peace. We should all have justice. And we should all live in dignity. The main way to achieve that is to end occupation in the system of apartheid that I am sure no Jewish person can be proud of. Time has come for that, and time has come for justice and freedom. If we achieve that, there will be no violence and nobody will be hurt.
The movement of Africans working for unity, justice, peace, and dignity. Just like Desmond Tutu said, if you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. So we are here because we have decided that we shall not be neutral.
In Iraq, one of my friends was hit with a car bomb in front of me, and I chased after the triggerman with my squad, with one of my teams. And we wanted to kill that guy, because I can hear my buddy screaming, he was hurt. So we're running as fast as we can, and we just full of hate and fury, and we just want to do whatever we can to he hurt our friend, we're going to get him back. We're just running, sprinting as fast as we can with all that weight, just sweat pouring off of us through orange fields, and then we get to a clearing, and they hit me. Blue sky. There's an old man in a white robe and a child just tilling a field, and that just bring me back to reality. Like, what am I doing? I'm a human being. I'm not, not some instrument of revenge, I guess. I don't know. It's just like you stop and you're like, just people doing people things here where I'm supposed to, where all this violence is happening, and you stop and you're like, I don't know, it makes you human again,
Solidarity greetings from the global campaign to demand climate justice. Today we stand in a space bearing the words of the United Nations, in a process we are deeply committed to as the eyes, ears and voices of our people fighting for justice. The body that was created after the horrors of the Second World War with a promise of never again. A promise that made it illegal to target civilians. A promise that it made it illegal to use food, water, medicine as a weapon of war. A promise of human rights. A promise that all people would be able to live with dignity, free from occupation and oppression. And for these last 2 months, we have witnessed not just the Palestinian people starved, trapped, cut off from the world, bombed and killed, their screams echoing throughout the night with no hope of rescue. As every morning we wait desperately for that message that our friends and our colleagues are still alive. But whilst watching the international community stand in silence, and again, not just for these last 2 months, but for 15 years of an illegal blockade, for 50 years of an occupation and apartheid, and 100 years of ethnic cleansing and settler colonialism. We watched an international community that has been actively complicit in war crimes, in crimes against humanity, where the genocidal intent isn't even bothered to be hidden anymore. And still, of course, that's not enough. We've seen hospitals, schools bombed. We've seen medics, journalists, and even UN staff killed. 18,000 people. Human rights and humanitarian law lying in shreds. And some ask us, why do we care about the Palestinians? Why do climate justice groups mobilize in their millions from Pakistan to the Philippines, from Belgium to Brazil, from South Africa to Sweden? Why is it that people from all around the world, black, white, brown, Jew, Muslim, Christian, are taken to the streets? It's because we have seen the mask that has slipped. We have seen how the Palestinians are not even viewed as human beings. And in the faces of the Palestinians, for black, brown and indigenous people, we see our past, our present and our future, of lives deemed less valuable than others, of an arc of 500 years of colonialism and racialized capitalism, of sacrificed people and of sacrificed land, of the powerful profiting from oppression, but then saying they don't have any money for climate finance, but billions for bombs and bullets against the people. And we say to those powerful countries who put words of human rights into text over there, that no amount of empty words will ever erase your complicity. You not only wrote the blank check, you enabled this, you own this, you own this as much as those who are dropping the bombs on the terrified people of Palestine. So here today, we, the peoples of
The police come and they disturb us and they said, you have to leave the jungle. I said, where I have to go? Where I have to go? Show me the place. We want to go to that. He said, you have to go back to your country. I said, where is my country? I don't have a country, man. It's a killing ground.
We are on day 43 of Israel's latest escalation in their ongoing genocide against the Palestinian people. So far, over 13,000 Palestinian civilians have been murdered by the Israeli military, including over 5,000 children. The actual death toll is likely much higher. New estimates from human rights organizations place the number of dead at around 20,000, including 6,400 children, with about 5,000 Palestinians remain trapped under rubble. Western governments, like the United States, enjoy all of this and want more of it. The Biden administration continues to vocally and financially support Benjamin Netanyahu's Israel and ignore or censor any government officials brave and bold enough to say, stop doing a genocide, pretty please.
I think 1 p.m. We are going to be leaving Ashkelon now because I just don't feel safe here. But I do want to give you one piece of good news that day and night, every few minutes, sometimes seconds, I can hear our IDF, our incredible army, bombing the living daylights out of Hamas. And it is giving me so much strength. And you can hear, I don't know if you guys can hear now. I hope that they are showing Hamas just this much of the wrath of God, showing them that if you touch a single hair on any Jew's head, we will come and we will bomb you until we just obliterate you from the face of the earth.
What am I doing? I'm a human being. I'm not some instrument of revenge.
And I can hear Hamas being pulverized, and it's the greatest sound I've ever heard in my life. Alright, stay thirsty.
Based on what we know about what's actually going on the ground in Gaza, I think it's safe to assume that the greatest sound she's ever heard in her life is some combination of the screams of Palestinian children, their cries after every single one of their family members have been murdered by the Israeli military, or just bombs dropping on densely populated civilian areas.
I don't have a country, man. It's a killing ground.
would continue their fight for independence.
Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. A pack of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picks a pack of pickled peppers,
then we can keep on running the country and shit.